We are having so much fun, and we know you're going to love our next guest. His name is Tony Walker, and he is a comedy guy. Comedy cures everything. So.
Absolutely. I had cancer at the age of 32, and I do believe that the laughter and the positive attitude got me through it just as much as the medications did, which led to the comedy troupe that I run called Knockem Comedy. We do dinner theater, murder mysteries, game shows, kid shows. You know, we're not stand-up or anything like that, just comedy shows, variety shows.
You go to restaurants and where else? Like theaters?
Restaurants, private parties, corporate events, fundraisers. Did I say fundraisers?
Fundraisers, firehouses.
The comedy shows, they're murder mysteries, they're audience participation. It's a scripted show because, you know, there's clues and hints that have to go out, but it's not a don't blink or you'll miss something. It's not Agatha Christie. You know,
Right.
it's a comedy, it's lighthearted, but one of the characters does get killed,
Right.
and then the audience has to figure out who did
it
it
is.
and
I
why.
wanna get killed.
And if it's a private party or a corporate event, we personalize it to fit, you know, their event.
Now, do you ask the audience for help with the mysteries? Or
Yeah,
you-
they solve it.
All by themselves.
Based on what they saw during the show, we even give them a little section where they can interrogate the suspects.
Oh, that's
And
fun.
you know, so we'll deflect, deny, point fingers at other characters, but everybody makes the rounds throughout the whole room and
Okay.
talks to people.
The show is guaranteed. It's 100% guaranteed fun.
Totally.
Everywhere we go,
always.
everybody loves that show.
The audience they just get so involved, and there's just such a part of the show, and that makes it even better.
Other things that you do aside
Yeah,
from
we
mystery.
do game shows.
Oh, the game show, we have a podium with lights and buzzers and sounds, and it's basically
Like
a
a
trivia
Family
game
Feud.
show, or it could
Right.
be, you know, again, we ad-lib with that too, so they may want a trivia game show, but if we show up and they're a loud, boisterous group and they're a lot of fun, we could ask them to do funny physical challenges, or do some karaoke, or whatever, or name that tune, whatever we feel like doing,
Oh,
and they'll be willing to do, we'll take it there.
What movie introduced the phrase, "There's no crying in baseball"?
What letter comes after A? Go ahead. B is correct!
Is there a favorite skit that you do that just still cracks you up every time you do it?
We do a lot of audience participation murder mystery shows, comedic murder mystery shows. And there's two shows. We have a mob show. We're in New York. You have to have the mob shows. And we have a redneck wedding, which is just
Oh, that I
it's
have to
a
come
lot
see
of
that
fun.
one.
You're welcome
Yeah!
anytime. Anytime. In fact, I even
Well,
brought
growing
you a
up in
shirt.
St. Louis, Missouri, I have to say, you did?
Oh, of course I did. That you will wear
Hey!
everywhere you go. In fact, I have a whole bunch. I'm giving one out to everybody.
Everywhere I go. Okay.
That's right.
There you go.
Knockem Comedy.
Oh,
we
that's
call it.
great.
Can I
Knockem
pretend I'm
Comedy.
drinking something?
Excellent. Yeah, you can pretend like you're
Thanks,
drinking something.
I'm having fun on the set.
You know, we actually do put water in it when guests ask.
Just
we
not
do. But
this
if you
guest,
but if
no.
you don't ask ahead of time, wait, this one's full of water. You ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, there you go.
Johnny, you have a good time tonight or what?
Had an awesome time.
All right. KDC, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, all right.
conversation with me in your head because I didn't.
No, I did. I told you.
hear any of this. This is all like completely new stuff. So, weirdo. I feel like you need to move over more because things right in your face. $10 seconds.
This is Gov's Radio. Gov's Radio.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Knockem Comedy Radio Show, coming at you live from Governor's Comedy Club, the legendary Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown. Thanks for joining us this morning. GovsRadio.com is the website. You can see our show there live right now.
And you are watching Gov's Radio. This is where you go if you want to see something or if you want to hear something funny. Coming up in just a couple minutes. This is a joke I told. What? I'm not on Gov Radio? Call the police. Call my agent. Hi, I'm Danny Bonaducci, and you are watching Gov's Radio. This is where you go if you want to see something or if you want to hear something funny. Coming up in just a couple minutes. This is a joke I told.
Okay. Okay, we'll just do that for right now.
The Knockem Comedy Radio Show also brought to you by Two Eagles Auto Body. For more than 25 years, Two Eagles Auto Body has been the leader in auto body repairs and customer satisfaction on Long Island. Two Eagles Auto Body handles every type of auto repair, from custom applications and restorations to repairs involving insurance claims. So call Two Eagles Auto Body and ask for John Rossi at 516-328-2527. The Knockem Comedy Radio Show is brought to you by the Roslyn Social, North Shore's premier rooftop lounge. Located in the heart of Roslyn Village at 1363 Old Northern Boulevard. Give them a call, 516-801-4963, and say hi to Nick. Fantastic food, great atmosphere, just a great time all around. The Knockem Comedy Radio Show is brought to you by the Roslyn Social, North Shore's premier rooftop lounge. Located in the heart of Roslyn Village at 1363 Old Northern Boulevard. Give them a call, 516-801-4963, and say hi to Nick. Fantastic food, great atmosphere, just a great time all around. The Knockem.
This is Gov's Radio. Gov's Radio.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Knockem Dead Comedy Radio Show, coming at you live from the legendary Governor's Comedy Club right here in Levittown, New York. The legendary Governor's Comedy Club, where there's all sorts of great stuff happening this weekend. All sorts of great comedians. And I don't know any of them that are playing this weekend.
Damn it.
I have to go back and look it up. Are you doing that?
Yes,
You're the
sir.
best.
I am.
Yeah, I do believe there's all sorts of great people playing this weekend.
There are. This is one of those weekends where I'm like, damn it.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Please like and share. As you see the graphic right over my head, please share our show to all your social media places. Please share Gov's Comedy Club Radio to all your social media places. Tell everybody you know about the great shows here.
Yeah. So outdoors on the patio, Chris Scopo.
Oh, nice.
Or Scavo. Eric Leiden is in the main room. And then, of course, in the little room tonight is the roast battle, where, I'll tell you what, Joe Winchell, you're going down, my man. Tony already heard what one of my opening joke is going to be.
And I loved it.
And tomorrow in the main room is Luis J. Gomez. And Perillo is back here with his the workshop mic. So if you do want to see like how the sausage is made, and you know how the old saying goes, you don't want to know how the sausage is made. I'm just kidding. It's actually kind of a fun thing to do because you can see comics like a joke like
working
in its infancy.
Right.
And then if you eventually see them later, you're like, oh my God, that's that joke.
And right, well, that's the thing too. You get some decent comedians in there too.
Yes.
Like you get a lot of guys like Joe Curry's in there all the time.
Yeah. The only time I've met Joe Curry was at one of those mics. So okay, and in Belmore at the Brokerage, there's apparently tonight J.L. Calvin.
Oh, love him. He hung out with us here in the green room maybe like a month ago. He's great.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's great.
And then tomorrow night is Mick Thomas, which
nice
is super cool. That's and then McGuire's. Tonight is and if you're out in Suffolk, the open mic at McGuire's. That ought to be interesting.
Nice.
I don't know anybody who's going to be there. I know Perillo, and I know a couple of people who might be here at the little room tomorrow night. But tonight, if you want to do, that's 2 nights in a row of open mic comedy that's open for the public to really get in. And
that's a lot of Perillo.
Well, it's a lot of but this isn't Perillo.
Oh, the open mic at McGuire's isn't
No.
him? Oh.
And then tomorrow night at McGuire's is Eric Leiden.
Very nice.
So that's in all 3 clubs.
That's a great lineup. Right
Banging.
there. And Luis Gomez, we're not doing a green room show tomorrow, but I wish we were because Gomez is the guy, or he's one of the guys that runs Gaslight.
Did you ever see that movie?
Oh, no, I'm not talking about. No, I've never even heard of the movie, but
Ingrid Bergman's in it. But go on.
Yeah, I think we're talking about 2 different things.
Oh, totally. No. Matter of fact, the term gaslighting comes from that movie.
Oh.
Like if somebody's trying to make you, like, tell you some sort of lie, but they just keep on, and they, like, are messing with you. It's from that movie, Gaslight, because Ingrid Bergman is, I can't remember the exact, but her husband or somebody is trying to make her think she killed somebody.
Oh.
So, and then the gaslights kind of.
And then they all fart.
I don't think I'm gonna. This chair. I set this chair
No good,
up.
huh?
No, I've tried to maximize what this chair could do. Like, and I want it to like not have to move very much. I know it's a terrible joke, but my wife's like, you're gonna get sick and you're gonna have a stroke or whatever, and I'm always like, I always kind of go like this and I'm like, because the ones that go by. So that's what I feel like right now. I tried to make this work. Sorry.
Yeah, I actually do. Yeah, see, yeah, the armrests move, and
there's like these back things that are really.
So
fudge.
Oh, so yeah. So
oh, here's the lock. Is this the locks? No, this is for this to go
Yeah.
up and down.
So my pillow's down there.
Yeah, I put this pillow up here, which is actually. Oh, this is. I've now moved the lumbar support up. Oh, that's so much better. For
Yeah,
me.
mine's lower.
Oh, I like that. Okay, never mind.
So, yeah, see, I like.
I need to. Nah.
I'm comfortable this way. See, but the thing is, I'm leaning forward anyway to talking to the mic, so that's
Yeah.
why I'm screw it.
And
But I do prefer those chairs myself.
Totally.
But I'm assuming this is still Sally's throne, even though she's hardly here anymore. So I'm leaving it. I think she prefers this chair. I think
The throne.
the throne.
Which immediately makes me think of toilet.
Yeah, it kind of fits.
So your gaslight.
Oh well, yeah. He's one of the guys. Are you not familiar with it?
I think I am.
There's Compound Media.
Yes.
There's Gaslight, and it's comedy like this. It's video podcasts is how I
Vodcast, if we're going to go
vodcast
like vlog. Blog was one, and then they went to
Right.
vlog because it's a video.
Oh, I like that vodcast.
Vodcast.
Because we're changing the name from Gov's Radio to Gov's Podcast.
Yeah,
should
let's
we
brand that.
call it Gov's Vodcast? That's a little tough though to say. Gov's Vodcast.
Gov
Yeah.
Vodka.
Sound like we're talking
Gov
German,
Vodcast.
like we're speaking German. Gov's Vodcast.
Gov
Yeah.
Vodcast.
Gov's Podcast is what.
Where
we're
are your
calling it.
papers, Vodcast?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's a station, it's a website like that has shows like
Cool,
these.
cool.
But he's one of the guys that runs it, and I'm always trying to like pick brains. Like I tried to pick their brains over their Compound Media. I didn't really get very far. It was funny. Their website has a phone number. So I figured, let me just take a chance and call them up, tell them who I am, and see if there's anything we can support each other. Or maybe maybe they'll take us on completely. You never know. So I call the number. Guy answers the phone. Immediately I'm shocked I even got somebody.
Right.
So I explain who I am. I work over at Gov's Radio in the studio. We got some good shows. I was wondering maybe we could talk. Just maybe to just talk and see what comes out of it. The guy goes, "You realize that we're on the air right now, and I was inviting people to call in to talk about whatever they were talking about." And you can hear this guy was pissed, and I was, "Oh, sorry, I didn't know. Okay, bye bye." Felt like the biggest moron.
Right.
But yeah, so I always try to reach out, but I mean, to places like them, the Gaslight and Compound Media. There are other certain outlets I won't reach out to, like the ones that poach our shows. But yeah, so that, and Gomez has I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's one of the guys that owns it or something.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, but we're not here. We're not doing another green room for another couple of weeks. But
Oh, man.
I know it seems to be one of our more popular ones. But
I was kind of hoping you guys were going to do one tonight. So we could.
would love to do one tonight. But yeah, we couldn't sync our schedules. I'm really upset to miss the roast battle. I love roast battles.
Right.
It was my favorite part of Put Up, Shut Up, Stand Up. And I will say flat out, Benny, when he did them, he shocked me how good he was with them. I did not expect Benny to be that good with it. And I'm not knocking Benny. It's just not the humor I know him for.
Right. Yeah. No.
So I was, when he came out with them, man, he did a super job.
Well, it's funny because I think, like, it was probably born of, I imagine, the evolution of roasts in general. This is kind of how comedians talk to each other, and you've seen where we just absolutely slay each other.
Yes.
And so then it became like, oh, let me go ahead and say this out in front of everybody. So yeah, it is fun, but it wouldn't fit in. It wouldn't be what your act is.
Right.
Like only somebody like Don Rickles, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, or Lisa Lampanelli. Them you'd be like, okay, but literally anyone else, you're just going to be like, oh, that was really mean.
Yep.
And terrible.
And Don Rickles, one of my favorites. That is my humor, and
Right.
I love I do miss the attitude in society in general that we can't make fun of each other anymore. I mean, there are some things with Rickles. Some of it was tongue in cheek, some of it was borderline hacky, but some of it was like, whoa,
Right.
whoa. But I do wish people would just not get so tied up about it, because it is he never meant the word of it. The man was actually had a lot of faith. He was a spiritual guy. But he was, I don't know if he was religious, but he definitely had his beliefs
fit in whatever thing that means. It's starting to not mean anything.
He had a belief, a strong belief in God.
Right. A higher power.
A higher power.
So the alcoholics out there, all the addicts, 12-step.
So yeah, I do miss that humor.
See, and it's this dovetails to like kind of one of the things I'm pretty sure I've told you about is like I hate if somebody agrees with a joke that I tell, like if they're like, "Oh, dude," and because it's not supposed to be real. It's supposed to be ridiculous, showing how ridiculous things are.
Right.
The second you start like actually just talking about real life and like, oh, it's okay. You know, because like I do tell stories about my daughters, but they're like these ridiculous moments.
But I do believe the more relatable, the more they're going to react.
Right.
So.
Yes. Well, but and therein lies the art. Like in that area lies like actually making it funny. But like it's all sorts of. I love when there's a lot of comedians come off like the headliners, and I think it was Santo this weekend. I saw him, and he's like, I should have used this other word. You know, even though it's not true, it's a funnier word to use in that situation. Like you end up here, like if you talk to a lot of comics, so they'll be like, yeah, that's like I wanted to say this, and so then the older guys will go, then say it. It's funnier than just say it. So you're not supposed to agree. The person is not up there saying things that are supposed to be normal. They're up there because laughter comes from shock.
Yeah.
Like that's like it's a left turn. It's a you weren't supposed to. That's not supposed to happen.
Right.
So yeah, you shouldn't. Anything you see on stage, if you see somebody get up there and you agree with everything they say, and you can like it's not like, oh, you're wrong. If you agree with everything that they say, you're probably going to like them as a person.
I was just about to say that the audience will walk away and say, I like that guy.
Right. And so you do have to have a likability as well. But if you're agreeing with everything I say, I'm worried about you or me
as a person.
Yes, because
well, you must be
you should be like
up.
That guy. You should be coming off and go, that guy is what? I don't know what's wrong with him, but it's hilarious and like that.
Right.
That's the space that in my opinion, for whatever that fucking worth. It should be that. And so Don Rickles making fun of people, it's funny because it's just he's saying a thing that like one of my daughters does this all the time. It's I told my brother because my daughter is almost exactly like my brother.
Right.
In that she's like and I was trying to explain to him why. And he's like, how? And I'm like, well, pretty much every sentence, every thought that she relates starts with great. And it's sarcastic after that. Like it's
right.
Because it's like, oh, great. Now they refilled the bird feeder, so now the squirrels are going to get all the food and the birds aren't going to get anything. It's like she can't see the positive in anything. She has to go to the negative in everything.
Right.
And that's hilarious. That's funny. Now, my wife gets worried because she's like, oh, I hope that's not her worldview. And I'm like, I don't think it is. But even if it is, like, it's funny.
Right.
And if you agree with that, if you agree with only going to the negative, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. But if you're like, that's hilarious. But then to say like, oh, you have to, every time you get up on that stage where you're supposed to make people laugh, you have to say things that everybody agrees with. That's the problem. You're not
Yeah.
supposed to. It's funny because it's not supposed to be said. These are a lot of things are they shouldn't be said out loud.
Yeah. Well, that was the beauty of, I guess, people will mention Rickles, but it wasn't really him. But guys from his day, because they were so outrageous, and comedy was so, everything was so exaggerated. Where now it's more, I don't want to say mean, but
it cuts to the bone. Like
it didn't cut to the bone back then. It was cleaner and nicer.
It was
but
much more generalized.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if you could go culturally, it was the 50s. Like they didn't care what other people thought. The overwhelming white male culture didn't care because, and we've been letting people in, which is a terrible thing to say since then. But and so now we're finding, oh wow, that's like my favorite thing is we grew up calling the Native Americans Indians. And the reason why we called them Indians is because Christopher Columbus was trying to find a passageway to India. And so he just thought they were Indians.
Right.
But then we find out, no. He knew he hadn't gone to India, but he had nothing else to call them. So therefore he started calling them Indians. So like the more we learn about things, they become less like easy to remember. And that's my with Columbus Day just happened, right? And my daughter Daphne came in, and we were eating dinner, and she goes, "Today we learned about Columbus." We're like, "Yeah, what'd you?" And both my wife and I are like, "What'd you learn?" We learned that like he did a lot of bad stuff to people. Like he killed them, and I'm like, enslaved? Yeah, enslaved, because this is words that she's like has no clue about.
Right.
Yeah, and the Europeans brought sickness here and everything, and when they stole all their gold. Yeah, like she's like that doesn't sound like a nice guy. Like, yeah. So why do we have the day off? I'm like, well, he was Italian, and like, I mean, it's hard to like we live now to put our values on something that happened so long ago, and celebrating Italian culture, which paid for by Spain.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, there are so many other Italians that I think would be so much more deserving.
Yeah,
like Galileo. Like
that is a great part of Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, then that could be turned into the Galileo Day anthem.
Oh, there you
Galileo,
go.
Galileo, Figaro.
So now, all right. So we just came up with a holiday. We came up with the word vodcast, and now we came up with a new holiday.
That's what I'm talking about. But then I'm driving her to art class the next morning, and she's in the back seat, and she's like, "Yeah, Dad, I can't believe that we have Monday off." And I'm like, "I know, right? Isn't that awesome?" She's like, "Yeah. That's the only thing I like about Columbus." Because we get the day. Yeah.
It's pretty spot on, actually.
Right. No,
yeah.
and that, it's funny. And it's funny. Like, there are people that say, oh, call it Indigenous Peoples Day, which, okay. But you know what? Actually, I'm going to like, and I forget what it's called, but I'm like one up somebody on their wokeness. Outwoke. I'm going to outwoke on this one. Why take over Columbus's day? Like, well, we have this day. Why not make an actual dedicated Indigenous Peoples Day?
Right. And even you poor Greek people, do we have a Greek day that we're off for?
Every day is for Greeks.
But we're not off every day.
No, you have to work. We're known for that. That's
known for working?
Yeah. Diners.
Oh, okay.
For years I'm like, we don't have a diner, but then we're like, Uncle Tommy had a diner in Newark for a long time. Living down to a stereotype. I always say that to my one of my workers is it's from Salvador, and if he'll like jokingly have a knife and like pretend to rob me, and I pretend to give him $5. I think I got robbed by my employee. But I always say, like, hey, stop living down to a stereotype.
Right. Let's check out some comments here. Hello, Jeff Bosti. Hello, Elizabeth Batapede. Hello, Kirsten. Cool shirts, she says. I'm wearing Peter.
One good comment.
Let's see who else is here. Hello, DJ. Where was it? I thought I saw. Oh yeah, Elizabeth says she likes vodcast. She likes that word.
It sounds sexy.
It does kind of sound sexy. All right, the phone is ringing. All right, we're coming.
The phone is ringing.
Oh, there we go. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hello. Good morning, Tony and Anthony. What's going on?
Hey, what's up?
How you been, bud?
Hanging in there yourself?
I'm just chilling the house day by day.
Yeah. Day by day. What are your plans this weekend?
Oh, tomorrow I'm going to see a movie.
What movie?
Tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning I'm going to a movie, Tony.
What movie?
I'm going to see that movie Halloween Kills.
Halloween Kills?
The new Halloween movie?
Oh, that's the new. Oh,
Yep.
I didn't even know that was. Oh, okay.
Cool.
And I just have to spoil. I have to spoil a little fun for you, Tony.
Yeah.
I know people in that movie.
You know people that are in the movie?
Snap.
Yes.
Who do you know in that movie?
There's a guy, my cousin's friends are in that movie.
Oh,
Two of
okay.
them.
Nice.
Did your cousin
There's
work?
one-
Did your cousin work on that movie?
No, I know my cousin's friends were in that movie.
Very cool.
Very nice.
Then there's one guy named Roberto, and I forgot the other guy's name.
Oh, okay. Roberto. All right. So that's cool. You're supporting your pal Roberto in this movie. I
Is
like
the
it.
other guy Jamie Lee Curtis?
Yes.
Nice.
So actually, I got a song for you guys today. Actually,
We'd love to hear it.
Oh, do it.
I hope it's about Jamie Lee Curtis.
No. This song.
But it is about
is for
titties.
this is the song I gotta play for this one. This song I gotta play because he did good for another friend of mine yet, but he was on America Got Talent just last year,
Okay.
and he should have won this one. He should have won America Got Talent. He's a violin, and he was abused when he was younger, and he had cancer.
Oh my goodness.
He was he got bullied in his school.
Oh man.
I think it's easier to list the things that didn't happen to him.
Right.
So this song goes out to my friend Tyler. That lives in he lives in North Carolina. And also this goes out to his brother. Here we go.
Here we go.
Yo, man, DJ's love. I'm with Tyler and his brother. Man, ain't nothing come between me and him. That's what I gotta say. He's just a kid. You pick on him, you gotta go through me. I don't like that. We'll get people get bullied. Man, it's nothing but trash. When you build somebody, man, me and Tyler's gonna run that shit. That's all I gotta say. Man, leave me and my friend Tyler alone. If I see you guys building him, man, I'll come up and beat the shit out of you.
Oh.
Whoa. Guess what? Guess what? Ain't gonna go down like that. And why? Kiki and also DJ Love gonna run this shit. We're gonna beat up the people up. We're gonna beat these guys up. We're gonna get some stuff. We're gonna put some music together. That's how we're gonna roll. Me and Tyler are number one. Can't mess with us. Man, we're the best.
Nice.
Friends forever. Yo, Tyler, I'd like to see you one day. Go to New York, I'd like to see you. My friend Tyler. Peace, brother.
Peace. Very nice.
Well done, DJ. Well done. Well, enjoy your movie and let us know next week how it was.
You did not comment on my show, Mr. Tony Walker. I was live last night. Should have seen it. You never comment on it again.
Oh, you were live last night? I wasn't on. What time were you live?
I should see you what time we were on last night. I sent you an invite too last night. Twice.
Are you serious?
You got serious.
I didn't see it.
I sent you an invite to come on there.
I didn't see it.
I had a couple people watch my live last night.
Did you get an invite?
Don't try to change the subject, Tony Walker.
I sent Anthony an invite, but I sent you and Sallie an invite. So you guys are on my shit list right now.
Come on.
Oh, we're on his shit list, he says. What time was this?
So does the shit list? Do you have like?
This
Do you get
was,
more
I
invites on
say-
the shit list or less?
This was, I'll tell you right now what time it was. Miss Tony Walker, I'll tell you right now.
All right.
Tell you right now what time it was. I'll tell you right now.
Right
what
now.
It was.
Yeah, Miss Tony Walker.
It was. I forgot what time it was. It was. I don't know what time it was, but it was late at night. Late at night.
Late
It
at
was
night.
14 hours ago. Mr.
14 hours ago.
Jeez. 12 hours ago
So that'd
was
be around
11.
7:30?
9:30.
9:30? Oh, you're right. 9. Yeah, 9.
I know I'm right.
Where was I? 9:30.
Sleeping.
Was
Just
I?
say that.
I was sleeping. Yeah, 9:30 at night. That's late.
I know. I like to go live, and I did a nice little video for my friend Tyler.
Is it
I did
was
tell
it the
him-
number was it the number one R-rated live at that time?
No, it was a friend. I just got up a live for my friend Tyler. She was looking at it, Andrew. You should see what I put on there. A very nice little video for my friend.
All right, we'll take a look at it. Sorry, I didn't see the invite, and I was probably in bed.
With
Maybe, and you never sent me the address yet either, Mr. Walker.
I posted the picture of the flyer, and you liked it. Is the address not on the flyer?
No, the address not on the flyer.
Oh, all right, so I'll have to get the address. That means I don't even have it. The address isn't on the flyer. All right, I'll get it to you. There's still 2 weeks. There's plenty of time.
Yep, and I'll be coming with my staff. I'll be paying for my staff too.
Yeah,
It's
you're
gonna
right.
I bet you give me a good show too.
Yeah, I'm looking at the flyer right now. You're right. There is no address. All right.
Those pricks.
Well, there's a number to call to make your reservation, so you can always ask them the address.
But nobody got back to me either.
Oh, so you called it?
Yeah, I called it. Nobody got back to me.
Oh, all right. I'll find out next week why they didn't call you back, and I will smack them in the face.
Ooh.
No, I just tell them to call me back. I kind of left my number in my name. I left my name and also left my number there too.
All right. I'll tell them to call you back.
I just want to know how was my friend saying. How is my friend doing? Do you know?
I
mentioned
actually.
his name.
What's
I
that?
don't mention his name, but
Oh.
I know my friend is.
No, I don't. Unfortunately, I don't have an update for you. I don't know what's going on with him. I know he's in rehab. That's all I know.
That's good. At least he's come along. At least he's come along. That's good. Though.
Yes, you're absolutely right about that. Yep. So
Yes.
hopefully soon we'll have some updates.
There's one more thing before I let you go. Before I go, you guys have a good weekend.
You too, pal.
I'll talk to you guys on Monday. Make sure you guys be safe.
You too.
Make sure you guys all be safe.
Likewise.
There's one more thing I like to say. God bless you and your family. All you guys, all you suckers out there, you
Suckers! DJ D Love. See, I like at the end there. He's like, "You guys have a great weekend. Be safe."
Right.
I like nice DJ D Love. When he gets mad and curses at people,
know,
it freaks me out.
It is. It's concerning.
Yes.
Disconcerting.
But he brought up Halloween, so I've really been doing nothing but thinking about Jamie Lee Curtis since he mentioned that movie.
Mhm.
She still looks good to me.
Do you remember, I don't know if you were ever exposed to this, but the urban legend that she was born with both parts?
Yes, I have been exposed to both of her parts. To that urban legend. I've heard that, too many times.
Yeah.
But what is the actual story? Is there an actual story?
I don't know. Like, it's just one of those that's like always been in the ether.
I mean, and that's not, and I know this is probably a really stupid question, but that's not possible, right? To be born with both parts? Or
That
is
is a stupid question.
I know.
But there's hermaphrodites is a thing.
So it is possible that's what she is?
It's possible, yeah. Probable, I don't know.
It would kind of really upset a lot of my thoughts.
I won't go into like the conversations I've had about this before about like why that maybe somebody might make a mistake that it's both parts when she actually just has lady parts.
Oh, all right. So, yeah, I'm getting more and more confused. I'm still just thinking about her striptease in True Lies with Schwarzenegger.
That was
great.
great.
My God.
I was in high school. And I was like, oh my God, she's old, but oh my God.
Oh, so even back then she was considered old, huh?
I think if you're in high school, you think everybody's high school and below. You think everybody's old.
You're absolutely right about that.
One of my daughters was like, oh, it's like that'll happen like that'd be something that would happen when you're like 50, and I'm like, that's in like a couple of years for me.
Right.
And they were like, you're almost dead. No, they didn't say that.
When I was a junior in high school, still thinking that way. If you're around 40, you're freaking old. And I was talking to one of my teachers, and somehow, I forget what was going on, but somebody was teasing her about something, and age came up, and she started asking a few of us, well, how old do you think I am? How old do you think I am? And I was like, I don't know, 40? This freaking teacher was 24.
Oh, shit.
I felt like an idiot. And I'll never forget, I think I was like 23, 24. I was in a bar, and I saw the librarian from my high school in there. She was drunk as a skunk, screaming and yelling. She was like this close to him, jumping and dancing on the bar.
Nice.
Like that was a big reality check.
Well, that was when I worked as a bar back and busboy at like what was at that time the hot place in Port Jeff Station.
Tara's, right?
No.
Tara's is a hot place.
No, not it's that's an institution in the town, but it was called the Landmark Grill. And it was like the first new restaurant that had opened. This is like 88, 89 kind of time frame. And so on Friday and Saturday nights, if people in Port Jeff Station didn't want to go down the hill to Port Jefferson or travel to Smithtown or whatever, they would show up there. And it was a lot of like teachers and coaches and stuff. And like,
did you ever live out some fantasies with some of these teachers?
No, because like they would, even then they would get kind of nervous that they would see a kid
right
that from their classes. But like my football coaches were all like, they were all like 3 years. My JV coaches, they were all like 3 or 4 years out of school.
Right.
I was in classes with some of their little brothers and sisters.
Right. Yeah.
So they just, hey Andy, what's up, man? You seen anything crazy? Like. Yeah, that's the place that, like I said, I would have like I'd be holding glass racks or ice or whatever, and I'd get fondled as I was going through the ground. Yeah, and
thank you.
So no, I did. It was never like, oh, there was this one hot Italian teacher.
Nice,
but no, not her.
Oh, I want to just finish reading comments, and I want to get back to that teacher thing.
Okay.
So DJ's calling Jeff a loser. Elizabeth says Benny Rizzuti was hilarious on Pasusu. Yes, he was. Elizabeth, it is going to come down to the comedy clubs putting a disclaimer at the point of ticket sales and somewhere before you enter the clubs. Oh, she's talking about like not offending somebody. You think it'd come to that?
I think it's actually just a good idea now to get out ahead of it instead of it. Yeah, I do think it's just because people are stupid. Like they just are. They like
no argument.
And you know, it's still on those silica packs. They say don't eat. Right?
Right.
Like things like that. Somebody ate them. And so they have to put the warning on there. Carla, being a lawyer, and I remember her having a discussion. I think she was on your show and talking about like that the business owner, if a reasonable person would do something, that they have to protect against what a reasonable person might do.
Yeah.
Now, what a reasonable person is or isn't, but if we're going to say that people are stupid, we're going to have to say, unfortunately, they're a reasonable person because that's the average.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's a fantastic idea to get out ahead of it and be like, and almost like they could almost do it like as a publicity thing, like that. It would be like, hey, we're putting and get attention in like news stories of like, there's a comedy club on Long Island that's taking a different approach to the cancel culture and and get it out in the zeitgeist and be like, wow, that Governor's Place, and like, I don't know, that might be
that's actually pretty funny.
That'll be an interesting buzz kind of thing.
But it's kind of sad, though, that it has to come to that.
It doesn't have to, but...
Well, true.
It's just like you got to read the tea leaves and be spiritual about it.
That's bam, bam. There are very few comedians that I agree with all they say. I keep coming back for more. Well, that's the thing, and I've mentioned it a million times on here. When I saw Louis C.K. at McGuire's, he made a comment about autistic people.
Right.
Did I like it? No, I didn't like it. But it was 3 seconds. People laughed. He moved on to the next thing, and I went with him. I moved on to the next thing. I didn't like it. So what? That's what gets me with people. You don't like something. You're offended. Okay, what do you want to do about it? I'm not going to tell Louis C.K. can't tell a joke. I'm not going to tell him. I'm not going to try and re-educate him. It wasn't that big of a deal. I didn't like what he said. Okay, and I'm sure there are I know plenty of people that don't like what I say. Most people don't like me. I get it.
Thank God. I can't believe we finally got here. All right, everybody, come in. This is your intervention. We don't like you, Miss Tony
Not an
Walker.
intervention. They just want to tell me they hate me and move on. Yeah, and Joan is watching. Hello, Joan.
Listen, it's a difficult.
Yeah.
As with anything, and I always try to tell my daughters that, this is going to get into this. We're slowly talking about this meta worldview that I have. So just because somebody else likes something,
yeah,
and you think that thing is stupid, doesn't make them stupid.
Right.
It makes whoever made the things but
makes you a fucking asshole.
I always think that the manager at the enlisted club in North Dakota, in Minot, used to always say there's an ass for every seat. Or seat for I always fuck that up. Seat for every ass? That's it. Seat for every ass. And and I think we just be like, there's an ass for every seat. Everybody be the scumbag in the place. But and we kind of talked about it before the show of there's comedians that I don't like what they do. I don't think they're funny, but we shouldn't use that as an insult.
Right. Because somebody's going to think they're funny.
Right. And who am I to say? There's people that don't think I'm funny. So everybody's saying everybody else is not funny. Well, I guess nobody's funny.
Yeah, right.
Like if you did let's take this out to its
so let's go out and see how unfunny these people are tonight.
Right.
Yeah.
And look at that's why I like looking at the crowd. I'd rather look at the crowd especially when somebody I don't like is up, and also people that I like. I like looking at the crowd. I like to watch. Because then you're like, you kind of start figuring out more.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Right.
That's because some of it is, I kind of come from I'm being absurd, being surrealistic. I'm trying to be smart, but sometimes just low-hanging fruit. Gotta hit it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then move on. But it's when your entire act is low-hanging fruit that I think that's the
Too much.
hacky
Yes.
and the problem.
Agreed.
With that sort of thing. But
yeah. And I do that at our Murder Mysteries. I actually go out there before the show and I just stand in a corner and I'm just kind of checking it all out. It's like, all right, that table looks like fun. And I'll maybe even hear some of the things they're talking about. It's like, okay, this is what they like.
Right.
And I definitely adjust to what I do and say in the show, and I'll try and go back and tell the cast, all right, I think they're going to like this part. They may not like this. Or, you know what, let's not do that tonight.
Right.
But, yeah, like you said, it's different for everybody. Jeff Bosey, I love the fact that you like to watch. You really are a dirty birdie.
I like to watch.
Dirty birdie. I've never heard that before.
I watched you wolf down that McDonald's off of my truck, Bosey.
That sounds like some kind of code, like gay code.
I know it does.
Want to eat McDonald's off my truck?
Yeah, the tailgate. The tailgate.
The trunk.
Yeah, but that's to explain to everybody is that Bosey, who is the most supportive human being on the face of the earth.
Yep.
Came out to a comedy competition that I was out to support Joe Winchell, who was here last week, and Bosey came out there, even though by the time he got there, it should have been over, but the headlining judge was up. And so afterwards, the producer, me, One of the other judges was Steve Rocco Perillo and Jeff Bosey. We went to the McDonald's in Port Jeff Station and hung out in the parking lot and ate McDonald's off the tailgate of my truck and just had fun. But
want to eat some greasy food off my truck?
2 for 6. I don't think that actually. It's funny because I'm like, I think I'm gonna do 2 for 6. No, I did do 2 for 6 that night. Then I had McDonald's like yesterday and I roll up and I'm like, I didn't see it on the thing. I'm like, excuse me, do you guys have the 2 for 6? And they're like, no, not anymore. I'm like, okay, I'll have a number 1.
Okay.
I'm like, oh my God, I'm morphing into these.
Yep.
Because I don't eat at McDonald's regularly.
It's addicting. Those fries. Oh my God, those fries. Holy shit.
Like they didn't put any salt on my fries.
Nice.
See,
nice. Nice. Go ahead, put the salt on yourself.
No, I'm driving.
Yeah.
So I only eat fries when I'm driving. Not by design or anything, but.
All right, but you can't put.
Just don't.
But you still can't put salt on while you.
Well, there was no salt in the bag.
Oh, they didn't give you any.
Well, there was no. Yeah, like normally they come out and they're salted.
Well, true.
So they probably listen, fry person, Port Jeff Station, coming for you.
No, see, here's the trick. If you want salt, ask for some packets because always ask for unsalted fries because they don't have that, so they have to make it, and so it comes out nice and fresh and hot.
I used to get my Big Mac without pickles for that exact.
That's one of the. I get my burgers totally plain, meat, bun. That's it. No pickle, no ketchup, no nothing.
Right.
But because I don't like anything, but that's a benefit because I asked for it and I actually ordered it that way. I'll take a burger plain, just meat and bun, no cheese, no nothing. And so they have to make that so it comes out fresh and hot. It's beautiful.
See, Charlotte, before she became a vegetarian, which it's funny because it's all these things that sound like humble brags because she wouldn't eat bread. She doesn't eat bread. So it's like, my daughter doesn't eat bread. It's like, oh, that's so good. Like, no, you don't understand. It's fucking annoying. Because, like, what she can have for lunch or dinner or anything, we can't just do a sandwich. Sandwiches are how I'm here before you today.
Right.
Is only because of sandwiches. My parents would have just beaten me until I ate bread. Like, it would have been stuffing bread into my mouth.
Absolutely.
I'm glad that you know that about my parents.
No, well,
you're like, absolutely, you piece of shit, Andy.
No, I meant my.
I know. I'm just fucking with you.
I'm so glad they fucking rammed it in your face.
Oh, I'm getting all chubby just thinking about your parents mashing the fucking bread, Wonder Bread, right in his mouth.
Elizabeth Batterpie says, eating off your tailgate.
Yeah.
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 But, so she used to, like, her McDonald's order was a Happy Meal, kids' Happy Meal, burger, but the bun.
Hold the bun.
No bun, no nothing else, just the patty. And then, like, she started getting bigger and be like, okay, 2 patties, and then add a patty. Can I tell you, it was like less than 50% of the time was it right.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It always came out with, like, all of the stuff would be on the side. Even to, like, that all the stuff would be on the side. Like, you're wasting all of this stuff. Like, I told you, just don't even put it in. So, and I get, like, I'm an order ninja. I want to be able to order perfectly and predict what people's mistakes are going to be. And so by the end, because now she doesn't eat McDonald's at all, I go, all right, this is going to be strange. Because you have to take them out of the 2 Big Macs, large order of fries. Take them out of that.
Give them that warning.
Right. Okay, this is going to be crazy, but you're going to need to follow me on this. 2 burger patties, no bread, no nothing. Literally just the meat. Happy Meal. And that's what started working. But then she was like, I don't like meat. It's cruel what we do to that. And she... Oh my God, is she becoming like I'm a vegetarian. My wife actually had to tell her, like, there's a whole thing in our culture where she's like, she told me after the fact that she showed her the meme of the kid doing that, and it's like a vegan who hasn't told anybody that they're a vegan for 5 minutes.
Right.
So, excuse me.
Let's not forget when we revive your tailgate, I asked you to touch my bun. Says Bosie.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out which word's supposed to be a different word in that sentence. That would,
yeah, that's not code.
That would make sense.
He's just throwing it out there.
I'm going to say to revive.
Right, because you don't need to revive it?
Yeah, like.
So, all right. I got a couple things with you today. All right, so we mentioned teacher. My condolences. Teachers.
Oh, yeah.
Was this somebody you were in touch with or no?
No, it wasn't. It's funny because I do think of him intermittently, like a few times a year at least. He was a science teacher. I had him in 7th grade, Mr. Frank Cheppa. And he's the first person. And now he had a glass eye. And so he was like the first person I knew that had a glass eye. And so most of what people be like, oh, Mr. Cheppa, glass eye. And yeah, I definitely made some jokes also when I was that age and whatnot. But then I had him, and he was a great teacher. And he was really, really cool. And not cool in the, like, he smoked cigarettes and had tattoos. Like, he ran the computer club. And so, you know, he put it out there, have computer club. You guys want to come after school? Because I had him like 7th period, so it would only be like 45 minutes until I'd see the dude again.
Yeah.
And I'd go in there, and there's only like 2 or 3 of us. And sometimes it was only me. And sometimes, sometimes I couldn't make him one of the other guys. And he just always had time to talk about everything. Like anything that was going on. And he always was just like, he would just sit there and like really just listen. And I totally needed that. I needed an adult at that time who would listen to like what I was saying and kind of give me really good advice, like be empathetic and sympathetic, but then also be like, okay, so but here's the reality, Andy. Like this is how the world is. Like you can't. It's like, all right, but it was also great because he was hilarious. He had a great laugh, and if you got him laughing, like he would double over. Like he was one of those people who'd be like this.
Right.
You know, like if you really got him and he was standing up, he would double over, and it was just the nicest guy. And my senior year, like the last day of school or whatever, a couple of my friends, we did this together. We went to the junior high after school,
and we did the same thing,
and we went around to whatever teachers and be like, hey, I'm done, and thank you very much,
right?
And anybody we could find, and so he was one of them, and he was just like, oh my God, like he was so happy to see us, we were so happy to see him, and then we went to our elementary school after that. But yeah, he's one that comes up in my head every now and then, and I'm like, I should look for that guy, and I just never did, and I beat myself up about that a little bit.
So he didn't just die, you just found out
No,
he
just died.
Oh, he did just die.
Yeah,
So
there's my high school, Comstock, has a Facebook page of fallen warriors, because the Comstock Warriors.
Right.
It's a fallen warriors page, and it's where people list, like if they're brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, teachers, everybody, but so that we all kind of can go and be like, oh my God, I didn't, because you don't always hear.
Oh, yeah. Even now, yeah.
So, and it was very nice. His daughter wrote a very nice thing on there about how much he loved being part of the Comstock community and whatnot. It was a really great guy. So
he had been retired or no?
Yeah, for like a while.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like I knew him probably. He might have been my age now when I knew him, but it was just, he was he's a science teacher. He was into computers. So therefore, he was into like all of the same, like Monty Python, and so that's one of the things that we do. We quote Monty Python with him, and it was just a great guy.
And I've asked people this before, and they all tell me that it's still the same, but I just didn't see it. But when we were kids, we had those types of teachers where they had the time. to talk to you, and they were more than teachers. They were mentors. They were almost friends. And you could be alone with them, and you can talk about things like Monty Python. I went to, I was fortunate. I had a lot of weird teachers and shit teachers, but I had some really great people too. And I went to Met games with some of these teachers.
See, no, I never was that close.
And back then there was no there wasn't even a thought like, oh, why are they going to Met? What's his motive? It was nothing like that. Now, unfortunately, we're all like, he's taken to a Met game? You can't do that.
Well, that's because of all the bad things that happened to people. Yeah, and we know about them now.
True, but it ruins it for the good guys who truly just want to be a mentor for a kid like you, a kid like me.
I have friends who are teachers who I've had this discussion with them, and they're like, no, it's most teachers no, and that was true even then. Most teachers no. Because they didn't put themselves out there.
Right.
Like I remember, man, I was very lucky in that I had mainly great teachers all throughout. I had 2 teachers that I hate from elementary school. There was only like 1 or 2 in high school.
Yeah. Well,
in junior high, they were all pretty good. Or they just were just the teacher.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it's the teachers who put themselves out there for clubs and things of the sort that, or coaches. I was just telling my daughters about one of my football coaches in 8-9 football was the director of the camp that I went to. Bob Davis. He might still hold the record of being the winningest girls basketball coach in Long Island or in Suffolk County. He was a great guy, and I've known him since we moved out to Long Island and we started going to this camp because my mom needed to put us somewhere. If there was school, no school, because she was working, single mom thing.
Yeah, sure.
And Bob was always he just was together. Yo, real confident guy. Talk like that. Let me tell you guys. He's great dude. And then he was my football coach.
Yeah.
And then he was, I think it was my 8th grade year, he was my gym teacher. And it just, he was a great guy. And he put himself out there to be a great guy.
Yeah.
There were teachers that I'm like, because 2 of my uncles, well, I could just say my 3 uncles and one of my aunts went to the same district. And so some of them I had overlapping teachers. I had some of my teachers were their teachers also.
Right. And
they would tell me oh, how's Mr. Hipner? Did you have Mr. Hipner? Yeah, I have him for 9th grade history. How's he doing? That guy's great. I'm like, I don't know. He's just kind of there. Well, he was the wrestling coach when I was there. And I'm like,
right, yeah.
But it wasn't until then I went to him and I'm like, hey, my Uncle Bill, Bill Langan. He's like, oh my God, you're Bill Langan's. Oh, what a great kid. How's he doing? And after that, guy was
yep.
Right there with me. There were, and I had that experience. I always say, the only reason I passed high school was through family connections. One of my uncles was the first class president of the first graduating class of ComSoA.
Oh wow!
So that went deep. And then my uncle, one of my other uncles, was was the actor,
right?
For the 4 years he was there. Yeah. So.
I had the opposite. When I was in 9th grade, I had a social studies teacher, Miss Dunbar. And great teacher. I liked her a lot, actually, and I enjoyed her class. Social studies teacher. I enjoyed the class. But school was important to me socially. It wasn't, I never cared about grades, and it just wasn't my thing. But I wasn't a punk, I was a wise ass, but I had some trouble here and there. But if I liked a teacher, I was good in that class. And I'll never forget it. It was back in the day when the teacher would call the house and actually talk to the student, too.
Right.
And it turned out Miss Dunbar graduated high school with my mother.
Oh, man.
And think, and I had a lot of teachers that knew my mother, and sometimes, like you said, it worked out beautifully. This teacher was now my buddy. But Miss Dunbar, who actually graduated with her, she calls up, I'll never forget, it was a June morning. She goes, Tony, it's Miss Dunbar. Oh, hi, Miss Dunbar. I just want to let you know, unfortunately, you failed the class. You know, I'm going to have to call your mom, at her job. I was like, I failed the class. Like, I was surprised because I enjoyed the class.
Right.
Passing was a 65.
Yeah.
I got a 63.
Ugh.
And I even said to her, Miss Dunbar, 2 points?
Right.
2 points? Oh, no, Tony, I just can't do that. I'm like, oh, my God. Oh, my God. I can't even say the word social studies to my mother because she still beats me if I say those words to her. And I can't mention Miss Dunbar either, who actually kind of had a little hotness to her, Miss Dunbar.
Nice.
And she lived in Hicksville, too. So
of course she did.
Well, who doesn't?
Everybody does.
Who doesn't? Bobby Donnie was here yesterday. He's from Hicksville.
That's what I hear.
We used to go trick-or-treating, and there was one year, some friends of mine were telling me they went to her door trick-or-treating, and she had on this sexy dress with a lot of cleavage. She was drunk off her ass, and they saw the guy sitting on the couch,
waiting for her to come back,
waiting for Miss Dunbar to get it on.
Nice.
I'm like, damn, I
That's
didn't
so
get to her
hot.
house that day.
At that time, that would have been really good spank bank material.
Oh, absolutely.
I had a similar situation my senior year there were 3 classes, and it's hilarious because the English department, they loved me. And I loved them.
Yeah.
But the journalism teacher who was part of the English department was
Right.
one of the few of my high school teachers I hated. But I hated him because he was I don't know, kind of Weasley. He was the girls' tennis coach. And I had journalism, 8th period, my senior year, and the girls that were in my class, and they were attractive, they would lay on his desk and stuff.
What?
And, when it was okay, we don't have anything else to do, everybody can just socialize. They would go up and just start talking to him, but they would be
No, that's still pretty weird.
Exactly. And so I hated this. And so I would call, and I was now in what would be kind of the governing personality type for me for the next 10 years, which was I wanted to be like Bill Murray.
Nice.
any Bill Murray movie, that character that he always
Caddyshack
plays. Well, not really Caddyshack, more
joking.
Stripes. But
Right, yeah.
Stripes is probably the perfect one. And so this isn't creepy at all. I'd say things like that, and Plagianos. And I was the entertainment editor for the school paper, so my homeroom was newspaper, and it was with him, and it was just he was obnoxious. So if he had to leave the room for any reason, I used to go up to his desk and take his keys and put him in the garbage.
Nice.
Stuff like that.
Nice.
So it comes down. I was taking 3 English classes senior year: World Lit, AP Literature, who the teacher, her husband graduated with my uncle, who's the class president, and then journalism. So I had to go to these 3 teachers. I go to Mr. West, World Lit, and he was this recovering alcoholic because he used to pass things back like that, and I was such a dick. I would go like this and take it back from him.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, I didn't realize how horrible of a human being that made me. I just thought it was funny.
Wow.
And so I went in and I'm like, "Hey, Mr. West, I need to pass." His was the middle ground. I think I needed 10 points to pass. I'm like, could you just hook me up here? I just, this is my whole life. And he was a great guy. He was one of the guys. I had him first period. Somebody pulled the fucking fire alarm once in January.
Bastard.
First period. So it's freezing outside.
Somebody had a test.
He handed us, me and my buddy Pete, the keys to his car, and he was like, take as many people and get in the car and warm up.
Wow.
Because where his side of where we exited was the teacher parking lot. Great guy.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so we're there, and he's like, he just looked at me for a second. He's like, I've always really liked you, Andy. So yeah, I'm gonna come. I'll help you out.
Wow.
And I said, oh, thank you very much, Mr. West. And he's just like, good luck and thank you very. He's like, please apply yourself, which was what I always heard from everybody. I then walked down the hall to Mrs. Morahan, who's my AP Lit teacher. I'm like, hey, Mrs. Morahan. She's like, I know why you're here. And this was the least, no, this was the most.
Yeah.
I had to go. And she's, married to one of my uncle's best friends. I'm like, yeah. So the thing is, and she's like, okay, I'll give you 5 minutes. Tell me why I should do this. And I went and blah, blah, blah. And I kind of took what, I'm going to be applying myself. I got myself pigeonholed here and da. And she's like, all right. Like she was like, I just wanted to hear you say those things and know that
She wanted you to grovel.
Yes. And so she gave me. I then walked to journalism, and I'm like, hey, Spurb, Mr. Spurber.
Oh, I had a Miss Spurber in Hicksville.
Fred Spurber.
Wow, I wonder if there's a relation.
And it's funny because everybody else had a different. I'm like one of the only people that had a bad. Like we just didn't mix.
Yeah.
I go in, he's like, Mr. Plajanos.
One of those.
Yes. And I'm like, Mr. Spurber. And like I'm coming off as a dick, and I have to ask for like 3 points.
You just can't help it. I hear you.
3 points, and I'm like, so I need to pass. He's like, yeah. I'm like, so I know I'm failing by like 3 points. He's like, yeah, 3 points.
Never mind, Mr. Spurber. I couldn't do it.
No. I go, hey, listen, I really need those 3 points to graduate. He goes, Plajanos, give me one good reason why I should help you out. You throw out my keys how many times? You've been nothing but a pain in my ass this entire year. I go, well, if you don't pass me, I'm going to take your class next year. And I swear to you, I'm going to be exactly the same and maybe even a little bit worse.
You said that?
Yeah. And he was like, and then I like kind of smiled at the end of it. And he was like, I don't know why I'm going to do this, but
holy moly.
I'm like, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Be out of your life.
When I was in 10th grade, I had a teacher, biology teacher, Mr. Schwell.
Schwell?
Yeah. Schwing. A nice guy. In fact, he was also my homeroom teacher. I got along with him well, very well. But as a teacher, he would have been perfect in a college.
Right.
Because he just kind of recited things, and there wasn't a lot of energy, and he didn't really go over a lot. He just kind of talked like this, and we're going to have a test tomorrow on this. And I became almost like the union rep with this guy. I was like, I'd be the first one. You can't give us a test tomorrow. You just told us this, and we had one night, and wait a minute, you're going too fast. And I kind of riled up the whole class, and we'd always be yelling and screaming at him. And then me and him during homeroom would be like our private one-on-one negotiation.
Right.
And he would say to me, all right, so I want to give the test. He goes, what do you think? 2 days notice, when we have class later? I was like, all right, well, yeah, that works. Give us 2 days. And we would actually do this. Right. So 2 things with this guy. So first off, in homeroom one day, he goes, stay after at homeroom. I need to talk to you. He said, I'll write you a late pass, whatever you need. I said, okay. So homeroom clears out. I don't think he had a first period class, so the class was empty. and it was towards the end of the year. He goes, and biology was just not my strong suit. I did. I gave it. I honestly tried in this class. I just didn't get a lot of it. And again, he wasn't a great teacher. So the class is empty, just me and him. And he goes, you struggled this year. I said, yeah, I know. Obviously I know. He goes, but you were working. You tried. I said, yeah, absolutely. I did. I tried. He goes, don't go to the Regents. Don't go. I'm like, don't go. He goes, yeah. He goes, don't go. He goes, I don't think you're going to pass it. I said, so what? So I failed the class? He goes, no, I'm going to pass you. And I swear to God, Andy, first thing in my head, this guy's going to ask me to blow him. I swear to God, that was the first thing that came to my head. This guy. I mean, we were alone in the classroom, and
right.
And he goes, just don't go. He goes, and I'm going to pass you. He said, but he goes, you tried, and I know you really tried, so just don't go and let it go. I'll never forget that. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, and this is the day of landlines, no cell phones, and my mother, I think, was at work, so I was home. I can't tell you how many people from my class called me, because this was the big news. You didn't show up. Because it wasn't
right.
You didn't make up a Regents.
Right.
Oh my God, where were you? What happened? And a lot of kids knew that I was struggling, and it was crazy. And I still got the Regents diploma. When the report card came that year, it said N.A. Not applicable. I guess I don't know, but I still got the Regents diploma. And thank you, Mr. Swell.
So he knew how to game the system. Which is
I
good.
guess so.
That's nice.
But it's funny when you mentioned how you said to this teacher, "I'll be even worse." The same teacher, a kid in my class, he wrote him a letter at the end of the year. I'll never forget it, and I don't know why, but this kid showed me the letter first. You were the worst teacher I've ever had.
Wow.
You sucked. Someday this is going to come bite you in the ass. Hopefully I'm the one that's going to...
wow.
Really threatening, horrible letter.
Right.
And the guy's name was Tim. I said, Tim, really? And I had no idea he even, he was quiet all year. He didn't fight with the guy. So I gave him the letter back, and I said, really? You're going to... Oh, yeah, I'm going to give this to him. I'm going to show him. And I saw it. I actually saw him take the letter, put it on Schwell's desk, go back and sit, and I just sat there and watched. And I saw Schwell kind of see this piece of paper, open it up. He looked at it quick. I looked back at Tim. His face is red. And he just folded it up. He put it down, and he went on with the class.
Nice.
I was like, even now, Tim would be arrested.
Yeah.
And even back then, I was like, holy shit, this is bad. I don't know if anything ever came out of it or not.
That's crazy.
But that was the extent of my involvement. I'll never, ever forget that.
See, the science teachers were always like on my side, all throughout school, from the time you start taking science separately.
Right.
They were all
I dropped it as soon as I could.
They're like, hey. Well, I ended up not getting a Regents diploma. My biology teacher was a guy named Frank Berry.
Frank Berry.
And he was hilarious. He was from way north Maine, in Maine. Had that had a Maine accent.
Right,
Talked like this. And the first day of class, he's like, my name is Frank Berry. That's Frank R. Berry, not Frank N. Berry.
Oh my God.
I'm like, I fucking love this guy. It's 10th grade. It's 10th grade. I'm like, this is going to be awesome. And I had it science. I always had early in the day, all the 3 years that I took science in high school, and he was hilarious. We had a good mix of fairly there were a couple of smart kids, but it was mainly dirtbags, people I would see out back smoking,
right?
And he was just insane, us dissecting a frog and whatnot, and an earthworm one.
Mm-hmm.
I remember him chasing my friend Pete around the class with a syringe with water in it.
Oh, wow.
He was going to spray him.
Right.
Pete's like, what the hell? It's what happened? He's like, I don't know. But it was just hilarious. He just was he was, and straight from the 50s, he had the thick glasses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He always had a tweed gray.
Right.
Always had a tie, slacks, white shirt.
Yep.
Sometimes it was a short sleeve in the summer. He had there was a greenhouse built on the side of the second floor and that's his office led right out to it. And so he just was and cool guy, but I never got close with him. But he would always, being active in the school is always the best idea.
Oh, yeah.
With anything that you are interested in.
Yep.
I tell my nieces, my nephews,
yep, I
random
agree.
kids walking on the street.
Yep.
I grab them.
Go to school.
Well, I say be active because that will give you credibility in other areas. Because oh, hey, are you in that play, Andy? Yeah, yes, sir, I sure am. I was thinking about coming with my daughters. Yeah, please, by all means. I think you guys you'll enjoy it. And being involved got you. I don't know. People just wanted to.
Yep.
To
I remember
treat you better.
Senior year of high school, the play was Anything Goes, and I had a great role. I had you had your room. It was your romantic lead, and the one girl who could really sing, and you had the jocks who.
Right.
Don't really do much of anything except walk on stage, but everybody cheers for
San
them.
Dimas High School football rules.
Exactly.
Right.
And then you had me. I had the comic role. So I got all the laughs, and I soaked it up, and I freaking loved it. And I'll never forget the Monday after the weekend of shows. I'm walking up the stairs, going into a hallway on the 3rd floor, and this woman stopped me. I had no idea who she was. I now know who she is. But from this, she goes, "You were fantastic in that play." I was, "Oh, thank you." No. Fantastic. Okay, thank you.
Thanks for making this really weird now,
Yeah.
too.
And she goes, "I don't know." She goes, "I've known who you are, and now I know who you are a little bit more." She goes, "I don't know what your plans are. I don't know much about you." She goes, "But if you have an interest in that, in performing the theater, you should definitely try." She goes, there's a gift that you should really tap into." It's like, holy shit, one of the nicest things ever that was ever said to me. And I wish I listened to it, to be honest with you. But
and that woman is still in that insane asylum.
She said that everybody she meets.
They caught her right after that. Brought her back.
When they grabbed her, she even said, "I loved you in that play."
I loved you in that play. And that's like, you weren't even doing a good impression of her. You're Tony Walker. I hated getting compliments in high school. I still, make
I'm with
me
you.
very uncomfortable.
I hate it.
See, and now talking about teachers like being involved in your life, my 10th grade English teacher is one of my favorite people ever to walk. I think she is a saint.
Mm-hmm.
Her name was Marcia Slatkin. She is still alive. Slatkin.
Slatkin.
Slatkin. And she lived in an artist commune in Wading River, Shoreham, something like that, at the time. And like,
there's an artist commune out there?
There was, at least back then.
Really?
But she was, she's one of those people talk like this. Which normally I hate that lisp, but she was the coolest. And
it's the easiest thing to impersonate. That lisp.
That's true too. But she had like long gray hair, like gray.
Yeah.
Steel gray. And the thing the guys would always be like, "Oh, you ever notice Miss Slatkin doesn't shave her legs?" I'm like, "Are you trying to hook up with her?"
Right.
Like, who cares if she doesn't? Does your mom shave her legs?
Because I'm trying to hook up with her.
You're trying to like, "Hey mom, you need to shave those legs so I don't get burned on my face." Like what? Right? Like what's in your mind? Like you're trying to have sex with your 10th grade English teacher? Is that what's happening? But she was like into her shit, and 10th grade was American literature. And so she would like Cotton Mather, they got to the Puritans and like the crazy over the top religious. And so Cotton Mather was this preacher who was like, and she stood on her chair and was like, "You're all just hanging over the pit of hell by spider web." Like this was, but she was like acting out. It was cool. I'm like, yes, sign me up. This is if I'm ever a teacher, I hope this is me and like 4 of the kids in my class. And we were the kids who all wore dark colors. Like she gave us all Catcher in the Rye to read. And she's like, could you guys please read this and come back and tell me if you think the class would enjoy this. And so the 4 or 5, and we were the 4 or 5 of us were friends. I read it in one sitting. That night I started reading it. It really affected me, especially for that time, being 15 years old. I'm like, this is what I was going through. 100%.
What's it, Holden or something?
Holden Caulfield.
Caulfield.
To this day, I'm embarrassed that I didn't actually get it. I empathized heavily with Holden, and I didn't realize until I was in my 20s that he was the phony. You know, like that never occurred to me. It was like, yeah, the whole world's just happening to him. This is bullshit.
Right.
Because that's what's happening to me. And I read it overnight, and I came in the next day. We had lunch with a few of my friends who also got the book, and I'm like, anybody? And I was like, did anybody read it? And they're like, oh, I started. I got like 3 chapters. And I'm like, they're like, what about you? I'm like, I read the whole fucking thing. I'm like, it's amazing. It is the greatest thing I've ever read. And they're like, oh, okay. I'm telling her that, especially since I've now read the book, and so I'll be able to like ace this fucking test and all the homework and everything. Like,
right.
And so, yeah, she's like, "Did anybody get a chance to read it?" And I'm like, "I did." It was right in the beginning. But she was so great. She was just like really like, she was fucking awesome. She's like, "Did anybody read it?" And we all raised our hands. And she's like, "How much did you read?" And went around. And I was the last one. I'm like, "I read the whole thing." And she's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Amazing. Yes, everybody should have to read this because this is what I'm going through." No, I didn't. But I was like,
maybe she said, "The boy after my own heart," and then she shoved your face in between the hairy legs, and you got burned.
Yeah, it was terrible. But yeah, I would stay after class sometimes, talk to her about like a lot, even before that, like because I've always been interested in literature, and I did want to be a writer at some point, and I wanted to be a journalist at one point.
Right.
And so she knew that I was interested, and she thought the theater thing. She's like, "You're so good. I loved you in Brighton Beach Memoirs. That was amazing." And I said, "Yeah, I really love to go to NYU." And I don't know what her connection was to NYU, but she signed me up to get literature from NYU, like for the film school. And the summer, they give summer classes, in residence classes.
I'm familiar.
And that's what I like, as you get older and you remember back to these things, you think to yourself, like, my life would have been so different if I could have done this thing.
Right.
And my mom, like, my brother was already out of the house. He was living with my dad in Queens, and it was a bad split up, I guess you call it.
Yeah.
And like, we didn't have money for such a long time. And now she was married, and they were actually like, we were okay. Like, we weren't like hanging by a thread anymore. And I remember it being like, it was like $500 for like the whole, like 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Or something. Or it was like $250, and $250 was 2 classes, and that would have been the whole summer. But I could have lived in the city. And she was like, "There's no way."
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I'm like, "Okay, I'll commute. I'll take the train in every day." And absolutely not. Well, if you come up, and this is what always, if you can come up with the money.
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, thank you for saying that in a way that you know that I can't come up with
Right.
the money." At least if you were like, "If you can come up with the money, sure."
Right.
Like, I'd be like, "Okay, thank you." Because that means you believe in me. You saying it like that makes this you're hiding behind, or you want me to fail. That's what this sounds like.
Right.
So yeah, never got to do it. And she would always be like, "So do you hear from NYU?" And I'm like, "I have, and thank you so much, but I can't do any of it." And she was like, "Well, is there somebody?" And I'm like, "It's just my mom doesn't want me going into the city all day, every day kind of thing. I think that's what it is." And so you could tell she was like,
yeah, probably tempted to call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know the drama teacher, who's also part of the English department, he tried to get her to budge on some stuff.
Yeah.
And but yeah, my experience with teachers overwhelmingly was fantastic. I had 2 teachers that were the worst teachers in the history of fucking humanity.
Yeah, I hear you. I had a few of those myself.
And I think I told you the story of 3rd grade.
Yes.
Yes. And I don't
had
even
to think about that for a second.
I don't even like to share it like
Right.
except with people when the conversation is specifically about the issues
Right.
that were but yeah, that and that's why I believe in teachers. Like, as
they make a world of difference, which is why it's upsetting to me that they can't be the mentors that, at least that I experienced.
And like I said, I do think they are, but like, you don't have a kid that's in
not
school
now,
now.
no. But when my guys were going through school, it was.
But were they active?
My son, and it's the weirdest thing. My son had more problems with teachers than he did with other students, and I swear to God. And I'll give one example. But I swear to God, sometimes it was most of the times it was the teacher's fault that he was dealing with.
Right.
In fact, elementary school was a nightmare because he was dealing with a principal that didn't believe in special ed. He he would come right out and say it to us. I don't believe in special ed. He would never say it on the record, but this guy was a fucking nightmare. And one of these days, I would like to get my hands on this guy. It was a nightmare. Yeah, so even the teachers didn't really know how to deal with, because my son was ADHD, and I mean, you wouldn't know it now, but he was a very hyper guy.
Right.
And he was in integrated classes. He need a little extra time to learn. But this principal did not promote it, didn't like it. So the teachers weren't really, some of the teachers were fantastic. There were a few instances, but when he was in middle school, that's when I started pushing, get involved, do things.
Right.
And he got involved with the drama club, and he got accused. There were two ladies running it, two teachers. He got accused of something, and I don't remember what it was exactly. Something got destroyed. And I don't know if it was part of the set or what. I don't remember exactly what it was. But for whatever reason, they thought it was him, and they threw him out of drama club. You can't come back. And apparently, from what I understand, they really screamed, made a spectacle of himself in front of everybody. Threw him out.
Right.
A week later, and of course, during that week, I'm on the phone with them. I'm in the school trying to find out what's going on, trying to reconcile this. But a week later, whatever. I don't remember the details, but somehow, I don't think the kid fessed up, but somehow they found out it was definitely this other kid.
Right.
And my son was nearby, and I don't think he saw it, but he was like, showed up right after or something.
Adjacent to.
Yeah, it was something weird like that. So as soon as I heard this, I went to the principal, the assistant principal, because he was the one I was working with on this. And I said to him, they made an example out of him in front of everybody. I said, so not only are they going to let him come back to drama club, but they're going to get everybody around and they're going to apologize to him in front of everybody. So if they can make an example of him in public, they're going to publicly apologize. You're absolutely right. And did he call me? I think he called me Tony. I had a good relationship with this guy. I'd known him for a while. He said, you're absolutely right, Tony. I will talk to them. They never let him back. They never apologized. My son went through weird shit like that with teachers almost regularly. So it was very odd. I mean, he had some fights, typical kid stuff.
Right.
But he had more weird shit with teachers. So he tried to stay active. I think he enjoyed the drama club for a while. But after that, he
slapped the taste right out of your
absolutely
mouth, that sort of thing.
And then he did try some other things, but it wasn't like he joined the chess club. But they didn't go out and, they weren't having competitions. He would just be hanging out, which is fine too. You're hanging out with some friends, you're playing chess. He enjoyed chess. But it wasn't exciting. It wasn't like being a part of the school newspaper or playing Eugene and Brighton Beach Memoirs, where it really changes your life.
Right.
He didn't have that. Junior year, he got into the debate team, which shocked me. I was happy about it, but just surprised. I never associated him with that. But he got into that, and he went to competitions to other schools, and he enjoyed that, and he made friends at other school districts. But even that, it didn't, he was just having fun, which, again, that's great. But my son didn't have any life-changing moments going through school, not through a teacher, not through getting involved, not through a certain class. There was nothing, and I feel bad about that.
So I have a theory about that, because I often, when I get into discussions like this with people throughout the years, especially like when I was in the Air Force, I find that most kids actually have the experience that your son had.
Really? Yeah?
Yes. That my experience is completely not the norm. And my theory on that is I had not a great home life. And I think everything comes down to binary, two paths. If you don't have a good home life, you can either have a terrible time at school, which is very easy to do.
Yeah.
Or you can have a great time in school, because I joined every club, Tony. I stayed after school every single day for almost the entire year.
Knitting club?
Greenagers. It was an environmental club.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, Miss Lacken was the advisor to that. So, anything, I would just go and be the French. I was a member of the French club, drama club, Greenagers. I'm trying to think anything. I would just show up for. What's that?
Cheerleader.
Dude, I would have.
That would have been a smart one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I used to. It's funny because I played football, and I played football. I ran track, and that would take me the entire year. I just didn't want to go home.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I would just try to stay at school as long as I could, and I think also it was a bit precocious. So teachers actually, I have a thing that I like to say, which is when you present people with a blank canvas, they cannot help but paint a self-portrait on it. So if you present yourself as like kind of open to anything, especially adults who are used to kids not really listening to them all day long, they're going to be drawn to you and want you to like what they like. And if you show any interest in it, they're going to, So it was no wonder that the English department, the entire English department liked me and I liked them. It was because I would stay after class and be like, hey, listen, when we'd be reading a play, be like, okay, we're going to read Romeo and Juliet. Who wants to read?
Yep. I loved doing Shakespeare in school. I loved it.
Mr. Brennan, my 11th grade Jim, he'd kill me because I'm friends with him on Facebook. He's a fantastic dude. 11th grade, we were reading Macbeth, and it was Act 1, Scene 1, and I'm like, well, Macbeth's not in this, so I would count how many lines people had, and so the king has the most lines in Act 1, Scene 1, and so who wants to be the king? And I'm like, and nobody else is raising their hands, and so he goes through, casts the whole thing. Comes to the last one, the sergeant, who comes and reports about Macbeth's great victory, right? Who wants to do that? Anyone who hasn't? I'm like, I'll do it, Mr. Brennan. He's like, all right, Andy, like you'll be the king and the sergeant. Now, what I hadn't done was read ahead. At one point, the king and the sergeant talked to each other,
right?
And so I started off. I was the king. I did a Sean Connery. What for before me? Do you say about Macbeth? And like everybody's laughing, and he's smiling. Like you give them something, they're gonna fucking love you.
Yep.
Right back because they're so starved for love everywhere else.
Right.
And then so like I suddenly realize like, oh shit. So I'm talking like this is the king. And then what I did was just do like a regular Scottish accent as the sergeant, my liege, like, and they're all like everybody starts laughing because I'm now and I'm having to go back, but I'm like having to like really
making sure you're not mixing them up and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's he's like when we found each other, because I actually were bartended with his son for a while. So years later, when I think I went to breakfast with them once, and he's like, I always remembered you just as this like fun-loving guy who just like, Mr. Brennan, you failed me.
Oh, really?
I think I got an 11 in one of the quarters because I just didn't show up.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think I took
11.
Yeah,
I got an 18. I got an 18 on my French final.
Wow.
And failed the class with a 36.
Wow.
Yeah, I hated French.
Oh, see, I loved French. Some good French teachers. But yeah, like you just give them something, they will give it right back to you tenfold.
Yeah.
Because all they want to do, and that's teachers, they've always given me more than I gave them for sure.
Well, that's what I always liked about art classes, because my original plan was to be an art major, and well, I guess the same with the club. You're with kids that are genuinely interested in this, which is why they're there. So that's when I got the most out of stuff like that, when you're around people that want to do that stuff. But all right, so you change the subjects because it's just about time for us to go. You excited about tonight?
I am. I got a couple of things in store for Joe. I was thinking about shaving my mustache to eliminate it, probably half of his jokes. But he asked me, he's like, are you going to keep the mustache? And I'm like, I am, so don't worry.
Oh, okay.
Any roast battle I've been in, usually the other person's like, hey, you're not thinking of shaving or anything, are you? I'm like, yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
I should have said yes and then shown up with it.
That would be good. Well, whenever you decide to shave, if you ever, we got to do it here live. We should definitely do that. And Sally's told me that with the beard too, but I don't know. It'll probably live longer than me, the beard. So you got the roast battle tonight, right here in the little room.
Yeah.
What else?
Not until next week. I'm judging
the
the
Buteras
finals of Buteras thing out east, and that's going to be fun because Billy's going to be one of the judges. Claudia Bonavita is going to be one of the judges. Rich Walker is the headlining judge.
Yes, right.
So
that's cool.
That's going to be a lot of fun.
Nice.
Because the judges, I think, they always seem to be having more fun than anybody else.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
That's cool. All right. So there you go. Tuesday, October 26th, Tom Galati is hosting a show at the Lark in Northport, and he's asked me to be in it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. I haven't done anything in a couple of months. So the Lark in Northport. It's a Tuesday night because that's a prime night for comedy, apparently.
Every night's a prime night for comedy.
Good answer. I like it. So that's tonight. If you go to govs.com, get yourself some reservations to any of the shows, but especially the roast battle tonight. Good luck. I know you're going to kick his ass, and I really wish I could be here for that.
I'm looking for. And like I said, all of the other ones are going to be fantastic.
They're all going to be fun.
They're all hilarious guys and gals. Yeah.
Go to KnockemDeadComedy.com. We got a show tomorrow night in Bayshore. Still tickets available. October 30th, there's tickets available for a show we're doing out in Mastic. And then November 5th, that is our first dinner cruise out of Freeport. November 5th. Really looking forward to that. Hope you guys can join us. Everybody's really just talking about Jeff and the big Whoppers and the Big Macs and all that stuff. That's where everybody's mindset was while we're reminiscing about teachers.
I forgot McGuire's is October 29th, 10 o'clock. That's my head.
Oh, the headlining show.
Closing the show.
I'm calling a headlining show.
But
I'm excited.
I know
for
it's
you.
late, but please get your tickets.
What, the show starts at 10?
Yeah.
Why?
It's after. I don't know if they.
Oh, they have somebody else doing an early show?
I think so. And usually with produced shows, like not Gov's originated shows, that they usually have them at the 10 o'clock. For a while, they didn't because it was like everything had just opened up and it was just to get butts in seats.
So the 29th. So the show starts at 10. That actually might work for me.
Oh.
All right. Go to govs.com. Go to knockemdeadcomedy.com. Tonight, I believe there's films on tap, I think. That's tonight. Oh, quick story. I got an email from a guy. I think his name was Tom, I think. He hosts a show called Film on Tap that he does live on YouTube, and he's from Long Island.
Oh, wow.
So he sent an email to Govs, and he's like, just let you know this is who I am. I've been doing this show for a while. I just kind of came across you guys. He goes, I don't want you to think that I was, doing anything malicious. He goes, and I'm cool with you guys. I hope we can just coexist. I said, oh, yeah, I wrote back, so I appreciate you reaching out and let me know. I said, good luck to you. I said, I have no problem with it. Go ahead. Good luck to you.
Matter of fact, here's the contact information for the guys who do the show.
I actually did say to him.
That's awesome.
I did say to him, I said, maybe you can guest on the show at sometime.
They could have a crossover show.
Right.
That would be hilarious.
I mean, of course, I didn't mention any of this to Tim. You're the first people I'm telling this to.
Oh my God.
So good luck, Tim, with that. I thought that was funny.
So
so Films on Tap tonight at 9. There is no Green Room show this weekend. Our apologies. I mentioned Tom Galati. Cars and Comedy will be coming back. He said he's working it out with his co-host, Brett. They are bringing the show back. It's been a couple of months. And then that's it. So then we'll be back Monday at 11. So everybody have a great weekend. Thank you, pal, as always.
Thank you.
It was a lot of fun, as always.
Yes.
All right. We'll see you guys on Monday. See ya.